Hi there, my name's Micah. I am the person that runs the Bookstore, which is a PangoBooks bookstore that I started back in 2024. And really, there's a bunch of history that goes on before that of why it is that I even started doing this book hunting venture and book selling venture. And by no means am I an expert or anything like that, but I thought that I would start a YouTube channel just to give a few insights into what it is that I do and how I do it. I've had several questions from customers in the past about how I price things or how I find things, where I find them, what's the criteria. I really like those kinds of questions. I like people asking. I'm definitely not shy about answering, and I really just want to help. And I am a firm believer that if I can do anything in the resell world or book selling world, I think anybody could do it. It does take a practice and experience, and so that leads to my own experience, which by introduction, I am a musician primarily. I play in a couple of different musical groups in Albuquerque, New Mexico, US, and I primarily play the trombone. That's actually what I got my undergraduate, my master's degree in, as well as theory composition for my master's degree. And what brought me out to Albuquerque, New Mexico was graduate school for music. And what inspired me to stay here was the culture. I really love the culture here in New Mexico. It's so diverse. It's beautiful. The scenery is beautiful. The history is beautiful. And there are a lot of different intersections of interests here that makes it kind of a hotbed for discovering new things all the time, including literature and written materials. So in that aspect, I've really loved it. Out here, I've gotten to work in the things that I've loved to do, and I get to go out hunting for books in my free time, which I've done since, oh goodness, I guess it's been about 15 years now. And during grad school, I worked for Borders Books whenever they were closing down. It was my first book selling job as an associate for that company. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed being on the floor and stalking and even just being a cashier and talking with people. It's always the hard thing is, selling the membership and the perks, so to speak, of getting a card and signing up for your discounts if you use your credit card and things like that. That was always the hard part. I was not good at selling those types of things, the perks and benefits of being a member. But I really did enjoy going through the bookstore and finding out how things were situated in terms of inventory, and my managers were great there. And I think that's when the seeds really started for me. This was back in 2010, 2011. That was when the seeds really were planted in me that this was a really fun thing to be a part of. And when that happened, I started looking around town for used books, particularly in thrift stores, garage sales, things that were kind of put out in the free bin at libraries, including the university library, which is a major thing people should look out for. More on that later. But I started building up a collection of things and reading. Like, I was really hungry for it, and just kept reading, particularly nonfiction, which is what I mostly enjoy, and collecting it. And then I became suddenly a collector of certain kinds of things, and then stuff got put into storage. Whenever life happens, you move around, you don't keep things out on the shelves. So I ended up boxing a bunch of stuff up and not really taking it out until the opportunity came along recently, I guess this was as recent as January of 2024, where I saw that PangoBooks was a place where you could basically just sign up with no obligation as to how much you have to sell, or no pressure or anything like that to keep up with sales, or meet a deadline or anything like that. It was all on your own time. It was very relaxed. So I started building my own store from there, and people all of a sudden started buying things from me, and I was like, well, what do I who am I that people are doing this? That's been an interesting thing about the store and setting it up and getting those older books that I don't read anymore, or that I've collected long time ago and never did read. They were just in storage. It was just a way for me to get it out there and find like-minded people that really enjoyed reading those pieces of nonfiction or how-tos, or particularly philosophy, metaphysics, religion. So that was all that said. You never know what you can do with the stuff that you collect over time, the stuff that you put in storage. I mean, a bookseller is a type of reseller. I don't think there's any shame in reselling things, particularly if people find value or appreciate the stories behind the artifacts, or the history behind the book itself, the printing. But it does mean that I have to do a bunch of research, which I really love doing. So all that said, I started up this bookstore so that I could sell this material, not just making money or anything like that, but really getting the books in the right hands so that people appreciated them. And I think that shines through the store. At least I hope it does. So the future of the store, I mentioned that Borders was the seeds. I was planting the seeds for the bookstore. I think the future of the bookstore is something I've been imagining for a while. I'm using PangoBooks as a way to kind of get things started, to build up an inventory, to really get educated in how to do this myself, and really branch out into some kind of a business. And I think with Albuquerque being the type of culture and diversity, as diverse of nature as the culture is here, I think it would be a perfect place for a book business like mine. It sounds odd having a book business that only mainly specializes in collectibles and nonfiction, but I kind of want to make the bookstore from now into the future just a reflection of my own personality and interests. I'm not very interested in a ton of fiction. I've had people in the past really try and convince me of literature, and I certainly do read fiction, but I find nonfiction so much more interesting. And that's just personal preference. But I find the discovery and mysteries of things in kind of surrounding life and science and metaphysics and the big questions of existence and things like that really, really interesting. And it helps me to know how to engage with people on a daily basis about these kinds of questions. And I really love that. And I think nonfiction, reading a lot of nonfiction, historic nonfiction, has really helped me. So I want to make it a place where people can gather. I call the store the Book Bard, one, because my wife ended up suggesting the idea, because one, I really liked Dungeons and Dragons back in the day, and that was my particular character type, was a bard, and that's all based off of kind of bardic poetry and those singer-songwriter chronologers of history and musicians, which is kind of what I am. So why not meld the two worlds together, the book bard? So what would take place theoretically at a physical store, a brick-and-mortar shop, would be meetups of people who do that type of thing. Pen and paper RPGs, Warhammer 40K, those types of, take and go anywhere and play with your friends kind of thing, with a coffee shop and the surrounding books of nonfiction and players' manuals and, all sorts of things to just inspire people to keep imagining and really playing with real life in such a way that it's all kind of a magical mystery. I want to make it a meeting place for like-minded people like that, have a small stage where musicians can perform and do book signings, all the gamut, community events and things like that. I think it would be a really fun place. It's something I've always imagined would be awesome, but it's way later on in the future. But for right now, I'm very thankful that PangoBooks has allowed people like me to get started and to educate themselves. And they have such a great, I guess for lack of a better term, insurance policy. They have really great guarantees for people who are buying, as well as protection for sellers, and a lot of great amenities. And they just open up all these possibilities. And plus the website's really nice and the app is really nice and easy to use. And I'm very thankful that they keep expanding and keep researching and keep asking for community input on functions and things like that. It's a great overall platform. I'm very happy to be on it. And with that said, as this is the introductory video and just kind of detailing a little bit about me, I look forward to doing future videos featuring books that I've read, books that I enjoy, books that are for sale in the shop, maybe doing a little bit of history behind certain books, manuscripts that I've collected over time, what my collections look like. I'm very enthusiastic about certain collections that I have, and very giddy about showing those things to my friends and my family and things like that. And it's always a constant labor of love building those things up and searching for things to complete collections. But anyway, I hope that's a little bit about me that could be useful to you. I highly recommend PangoBooks, even if you're just looking to do like a little garage sale type thing, or raising awareness or fundraising or whatever it might be. It's a really good spot to do temporary or long-term book selling, and I would highly recommend them. I'm just going to use it and keep riding the wave until I feel like I'm ready enough to really jump on the chance at doing an in-person store later on in life. But in the meantime, I couldn't do this without my customers or the PangoBooks platform, and I'm just really grateful. And if I can do it, you could do it too. So I hope to see y'all in future little videos where I'll be doing all sorts of other things. If you have any suggestions for me or anything that you feel you would like to know about my store, which you can visit on the PangoBooks website if you just search the book bard, or I'll have a link in the description. You can go by there and ask any questions you'd like. Other than that, you could comment on this video. Like and subscribe, get the word out there. I'm just one guy on PangoBooks, doing the thing. But I hope that there is a little bit more of a story to what I'm doing, that maybe this channel can help to flesh out a little bit and, make a little bit of like a history with. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just talking at a phone. That's just my camera. But please help me. I want to help you guys. So like and subscribe. Let me know if there's anything you want to learn, or if there's anything that you would like to see. And I guess the factoid of the day is that, yes, in my house bookstore, I do have a bookstore cat in the traditional way that booksellers do things. Most booksellers have cats, at least one. And my cat's name is Lou, and he is almost 14 years old. He does like curling up on me while I'm reading. And I hope to see y'all soon. Like and subscribe. I'll see you on PangoBooks. Let me know if you have any questions.